The limousine door opened. John Lennon stepped onto the pavement. He was home. He didn't see the man in the shadows, didn't notice the hate-filled eyes. The city air was crisp, carrying the promise of winter. A December chill settled over New York City. Streetlights cast a cold yellow glow on the sidewalk. Lennon, lost in thought, walked towards the archway of the Dakota. He never made it. John Lennon, a name that echoed around the world, a symbol of peace, a voice for a generation. From Liverpool to New York he'd left his mark. The Beatles had changed music forever. Their songs, anthems of love and rebellion. Even after the band split, Lennon's voice remained powerful. He sang for peace. He spoke out against war. He challenged the world to imagine a better future. December 8, 1980, dawned like any other day. The city was wrapped in the cold embrace of winter, with the sun casting a pale light over the skyscrapers. The streets were beginning to stir, with people bundled up in their winter coats, heading to work or school, unaware of the historic day that was about to unfold. Lennon spent it working on his music. The studio was his sanctuary, a place where he could pour his heart and soul into his art. He was working on his latest album, Double Fantasy, a collaboration with his beloved wife Yoko Ono. The music was a reflection of their life together, filled with love, hope, and dreams for the future. He was a man reborn, deeply in love with his wife Yoko Ono and their son Sean. Their family life was a source of immense joy for him. They spent their days creating music, sharing laughter, and building memories. John often spoke about how Yoko and Sean had given him a new lease on life, inspiring him to be a better man and artist. Later that day he gave what would be his last interview. In the radio studio, John was candid and reflective. He talked about his journey, his struggles, and his triumphs. He shared his thoughts on the world, his music, and his hopes for the future. It was a conversation filled with wisdom and insight, a testament to the man he had become. He spoke of his hopes, his dreams. John was a visionary, always looking ahead, always dreaming of a better world. He talked about peace, love, and the power of music to bring people together. His words were filled with passion and conviction, a reflection of his unwavering belief in the goodness of humanity. He signed an autograph for a fan. John was always generous with his time, always willing to connect with his fans. He understood the impact he had on their lives and cherished the moments he could share with them. That day he took a moment to sign a record, exchange a few words, and share a smile. He didn't know it then, but he was staring death in the face. As he walked through the streets of New York City that night, the city lights casting long shadows, John was unaware of the tragic fate that awaited him. It was a moment of calm before the storm, a final walk through the city he loved, a city that would soon mourn the loss of one of its brightest stars. Far from the bright lights of fame, a shadow stirred. Mark David Chapman, a name lost in obscurity, nursed a dark obsession. Lennon's message of peace meant nothing to him. Chapman saw only Lennon's fame, his wealth. He saw a man who preached peace but lived like a king. In his twisted mind he believed he could become famous by destroying something famous. He chose Lennon. Section 5, 5 shots under the archway. The shots rang out, shattering the night, 5 of them, each one a hammer blow to the soul of the city. Lennon crumpled to the ground, the music died. His blood stained the cold pavement. Yoko Ono screamed. The world stopped turning. Under the archway of the Dakota, a life, a dream lay bleeding. Silence fell, heavy and absolute. Then the sirens began. Section 6. The World Mourns. In the wake of the tragic news, the world came together in a collective moment of sorrow. The air was thick with grief, and the atmosphere was heavy with a sense of loss that transcended borders and cultures. The news spread like wildfire. It was as if time stood still, and the world paused to take in the gravity of the situation. People gathered around radios, televisions, and any available source of information, their faces etched with shock and disbelief. From New York to London, from Tokyo to Rio, the world reeled. The impact was felt in every corner of the globe, As cities large and small grappled with the news, the sense of unity and grief was palpable, as people from different walks of life shared in the collective mourning. People wept openly in the streets, disbelief turned to anger, then to despair. The emotional toll was visible on the faces of those who had lost a hero, an icon, a voice that had spoken to their hearts and souls. Fans gathered at the Dakota, the place that had become a symbol of both his life and his untimely death. They came to pay their respects, to leave flowers, notes and mementos, each item a testament to the profound impact he had on their lives. A sea of faces united in grief. Candles flickered, casting a gentle glow that seemed to offer a fragile light in the darkness. The vigil was a poignant reminder of the power of community, and the strength found in shared sorrow. A fragile light in the darkness, each candle represented a story, a memory, a connection to the man whose music had touched so many lives. The flickering flames were a symbol of hope, resilience, and the enduring legacy of his art. Lennon's music filled the air, a poignant reminder of what was lost. His songs, once a source of joy and inspiration, now carried an added weight of melancholy and reflection. The melodies that had once brought people together in celebration now united them in mourning, a poignant reminder of what was lost. Fans clutched memorabilia, their faces a mix of sadness and reverence. They sang along to his songs, their voices blending in a chorus of tribute and remembrance. It was a moment of collective catharsis, a way to process the overwhelming grief. The world mourned a Beatle. Landmarks around the globe were lit in tribute, a visual testament to the far-reaching influence of his music and message. The signs held by mourners bore words of love, peace, and remembrance, echoing the ideals he had championed throughout his life. In this moment of shared sorrow, the world stood united, honoring the legacy of a man whose impact would be felt for generations to come. Section 7. Justice for a Beatle. The tragic event that shook the world and left an indelible mark on music history. The courtroom was packed, the air thick with anticipation and sorrow. Fans of John Lennon, one of the most beloved members of the Beatles, awaited justice for the senseless act that took him away from them. The man with the gun, Mark David Chapman, didn't run. He stood there, almost as if he were waiting for the inevitable. The police arrived quickly and Chapman made no attempt to flee. He was arrested on the spot, the murder weapon still in his hand. The world was in shock. How could someone do this to a man who had given so much joy through his music? He stood there, calm, almost serene, holding the murder weapon. His demeanor was chilling, as if he had rehearsed this moment in his mind countless times. Chapman later revealed that he had been obsessed with Lennon for years, and his twisted mind had convinced him that this was the way to achieve notoriety. He wanted to be remembered, even if it was for something so heinous. He had planned this moment. He wanted notoriety, infamy. He got his wish. The details of his meticulous planning came to light during the investigation. He had stalked Lennon, learning his routines, and waited for the perfect moment to strike. It was a premeditated act of violence that left the world mourning the loss of a musical legend. His trial was a media circus. Reporters from around the globe descended on the courthouse, eager to capture every moment of the proceedings. The public was hungry for details, wanting to understand the mind of the man who had taken John Lennon from them. The courtroom was filled with journalists, their cameras clicking incessantly, capturing every expression, every word. He pleaded guilty, claiming he was insane. The court disagreed. Despite his attempts to paint himself as a victim of his own mind, the evidence was overwhelming. The prosecution presented a compelling case, showing that Chapman had known exactly what he was doing. His plea of insanity was rejected, and the court found him fully responsible for his actions. Chapman was sentenced to 20 years to life in prison. The sentence was a small comfort to those who had loved Lennon, but it was a necessary step towards justice. The judge's gavel came down, and Chapman was led away in handcuffs, his fate sealed. The world watched, hoping that this would bring some closure to a painful chapter in music history. Justice, perhaps, but it couldn't bring Lennon back. The empty recording studio, the vigils held by fans, and the broken guitar on stage were poignant reminders of what had been lost. John Lennon's voice had been silenced, but his legacy lived on. His music continued to inspire, and his message of peace and love resonated even more strongly in the wake of his tragic death. Section 8. Immortal Melody. John Lennon is gone, but his music remains. His words still resonate. His message of peace echoes through the decades. Imagine is an anthem for the ages, a song that dares us to dream of a world without war, without hate. Lennon's legacy is not just music, but a message of hope, a plea for understanding. He believed in the power of love. He believed in peace. Section 9. Imagine. Close your eyes. Imagine a world at peace, a world without hunger, without poverty, without war. It's a difficult thing to imagine. But John Lennon dared us to try. He dared us to believe in a better tomorrow. He may be gone, but his dream lives on. The dream of peace, the dream of love, the dream of a world united. Imagine.